Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to learn about the reciprocal se. So let's begin. So before we begin talking about the reciprocal se, we need to review the se reflexivo or the se reflexive. So number one, remember that a reflexive verb is when the subject does and receives the action, which means that the subject is the doer and the receiver or the object. Number two, in general, the verbs used to express daily routine are reflexive verbs. For example, los perros se cepillan los dientes. The dogs brush their teeth. 3. The reflexive pronoun se represents the subject pronouns él, ella, usted, ellos, ellas, ustedes. So the majority of reflexive verbs could also be non-reflexive. So if we take a look at the first example, el perro se cepilla los dientes. In this case, the dog is the doer and the receiver of the action. And if we look at the second example, el dueño le cepilla los dientes a su perro. So notice that we are using el le, which is the indirect object pronoun, because the owner, which is the subject, is performing the action on the dog. And he is the one who is receiving the action indirectly. Now, there are certain verbs that are only reflexive. And here are the most common ones. Jactarse, which means to boast. Atreverse, which means to dare. And quejarse, which means to complain. So the reciprocal se is close related to the reflexive se. And the reciprocal se happens when two or more subjects share or exchange an action. So if the subject pronoun is nosotros, the reciprocal pronoun is going to be nos. For ellos, ellas, and ustedes, the reciprocal pronoun is se. For example, mi hermana y yo nos queremos, which means my sister and I love each other. So notice that I'm using the reciprocal pronoun nos. The subject is nosotros or nosotras, my sister and I. And it's basically the equivalent of each other in English. In summary, first, reflexive verbs could be non-reflexive, and this is when the subject does the action and there is an object which receives that action either directly or indirectly. Second, the se reciprocal is the equivalent of each other in English, and this happens when two subjects share or exchange an action. And that's it for today.